Welcome everyone, Christine here with a discussion about Tretch Craventail, the worst legendary lord of the Skaven, but still a Skaven legendary lord with a good amount of power in his campaign. Because all Skaven are pretty powerful, or have the potential to be really powerful. Though Tretch may actually take certain things to a new level. See, in the lore, Clan Rictus is controlling trade, or the trade routes, in the Darklands. If you want to enter the Darklands, you gotta pay them. If you want to exit the Darklands, you gotta pay them. And if you don't have payment, you're gonna get screwed. And since they're Skaven and prone to backstabbing, well, good luck with traversing the Darklands. Yeah, you gotta imagine the Cathayans who are part of those caravans must not make it. There's gotta be a lot of Cathayans in the lore for any of them to make it to the other side. But regardless of that dynamic in the lore, Tretch certainly lives up to it, because he is surrounded by greenskins, ogres, chaos dwarves, etc. But it's really the greenskins and ogres that are going to play such a huge role in his campaigns. That is because both greenskins and ogres have truckloads of money. Oh yes, lots and lots of money. Like, for instance, Skarsnik is willing to give me 8k over here for the Forest of Gloom, just as an example that I literally just took over there. That is just the start of the bullshit train in a campaign like this. But let's say, for instance, I just use the give region console command, just a demonstration of this. Let's consider Scrag as an example, because ogres are even more ridiculous. See, ogres don't have to spend money on their camp buildings, and regular buildings and minor settlements, they're not really a priority for the ogre AI. So the ogres do tend to underdevelop their settlements in quite a few ways. Like, it does take them a while to actually properly develop them, for whatever reason. Probably due to growth. But that means that the ogres, especially on legendary difficulty, end up with a biblical freaking ton of money. Like, this is just a demonstration, right? Obviously, it would have been far smarter for me to sell this to Scrag in the first place, not even content with Skarsnik. But this is one of the advantages that Tretch does have. He has Greases to the east, Scrag to the west. He's got both Gorbat and Skarsnik to the west, Grimgor to the east. And you can kind of ally, quote-unquote, at least some of them. Maybe not all of them, because it's tricky, making an alliance with people like Skarsnik, Tretch, Skarsnik, Queek, Gorbat, and Greases can be sometimes tricky, especially if you try and add Grimgor into the mix, because of his relationship with Greases. But it is still a really, really good situation that he does have. On top of that, Tretch can take a provincial capital that he can instantly turn into a tier 4 settlement very early on in a campaign without having to deal with any army. And that is the Tower of Gorgoth. See, the army over here of the Chaos Dwarves that start a war with the Greenskins, right here, they'll be moving west, or northwest. So that means their Tower of Gorgoth will pretty much be undefended. And even if it was undefended, it wouldn't necessarily matter. Sure, you only have the ability of recruiting clan rats on turn 1, but due to Skaven settlement mechanics, it isn't really a difficult thing to actually get yourself a good amount of unit variety very early on. The question is affording it, and that is really where the ogres come in. This is a very significant advantage compared to Skrulk, compared to Ikiclaw, compared to Clan Molder. Queek does have a pretty good situation, but Tretch just takes it to a new level because he has major factions of ogres right next to him that he gets in contact with very, very quickly and can strike those kind of diplomatic deals. But even more than that, Tretch's quest battle takes place around here. What that means is that you gain vision over that portion of the campaign map. And with that kind of vision, as well as other visions that you're getting throughout the course of your campaign, you can declare war on a bunch of factions and get even more money from factions that will never attack you. Now, you're probably not going to get a lot of peace agreements with playing factions because, you know, a lot of people freaking hate you. For good reason, I should add. A lot of people do despise the Skaven. For good bloody reason, again. But you can still declare these wars. And also, you have the ability of gaining vision through these kind of declarations of war with other Skaven Legendary Lord factions. So, Queek is the obvious one, but you also have Snitch that you can get vision with through a declaration of war, but eventually you might be able to get some kind of, you know, peace agreement, and then, you know, with all the freaking money that you're getting, eventually start building up things diplomatically with him, and, you know, Ikeclaw as well. So you can get yourself confederations going for diplomacy. It is tricky, though. It might take some time and a little bit of fuckery, but, well, Tretch is all about screwing others over for his own gain. He certainly lives up to that expectation. I thought I had an engineer over here in this army. I guess I was a bit wrong on that. So you end up in a situation where you start unleashing a lot of freaking armies. Now, his faction effects are a bit freaking ridiculous, and the tooltip there is complete utter bullshit. But let's consider this. So you gain armor and base weapon damage per unit experience rank for Clan Rats in Storm Vermin. Now, Storm Vermin still are not really worth recruiting as a principal unit, but you can get a couple of them to be line holders because they're decently armored, they have decent leadership, not the best leadership in the world, but decent enough. But decent enough leadership, decent enough combat capability, and they can hold a line against many other foes while your range units do all the freaking work. That is a great level of power. You do have access to Tretch. He does have the highest quality Storm Vermin in the campaign, and crucially, he has Encourage ability. And what Encourage is going to do, it's going to provide a leadership bonus to nearby allies. So you can make entire armies of Clan Rats and other units work better. Scurry Away gets an extra benefit, which is like 10% damage resistance. So if leadership is starting to break, they'll get speed, but they'll also get that damage resistance. That can be useful in a tricky affair in a battle. But the crazy thing is, about all those declarations of war, is the benefit that Tretch does get with respect to declarations of war on a faction level. So Skaven have the stock stance. So all Skaven armies have a chance of ambushing foes. It does get better, assuming I can find... Oh, so I have a Skaven Master Assassin over here. It does get better with Expert Ambusher, so that's negating the downside you might have with stock stance. So you have a baseline ambush success chance, but you can increase this with declarations of war, plus 25% ambush success chance. So you have a really good chance of ambushing enemies when you're just attacking their armies directly. Then enemy battle reinforcements take longer by default to come in, and you get army ability uses +1 for menace 4 below. And you get Vanguard deployment for all units. This is actually a pretty important aspect, because you can delay enemy reinforcements, and one of the tricky affairs is, how do you deal with enemy reinforcements? They'll still be coming, but because you can Vanguard deploy and delay those reinforcements, you're in a situation where you could potentially destroy an entire army before any kind of reinforcements arrive. Depends on the size, right? And you'd still win, and the amount of things you can do with this to screw over various factions that might be more powerful than you is ridiculous. It especially works well when you're dealing with greenskins, for pretty clear and obvious reasons. Yeah, just the sheer amount of armies greenskins do have. Now, this happens when you declare war, but here's the thing. It stacks with the duration of it stacks with every declaration of war. So it's free turn. So I've declared war on a bunch of factions, like got some peace, then declared war, all that kind of stuff has been happening over here. There is no way this effect is expiring during the course of this campaign. You don't even have to go out of your way to get this ridiculous bullshit. You will probably do it naturally because you're a dirty rat, people hate the dirty rats, and that is one advantage you can use. There's more. to this. And this obviously applies to all Skaven. A lot of these things do apply to all Skaven. Tretch just has certain advantages in that respect. Skaven have a pretty bad auto-resolve result. So you may have to fight more battles manually than other races. But, this is the kicker. But, because of that poor auto-resolve result, a lot of factions will be willing to attack you far more often instead of running away. So if you're playing dwarves, for instance, who have a great auto-resolve result, you might have a lot of opponents just running away from you on the campaign map. And you might not catch them unless you're playing Grumbrindle, who's just complete bullshit. But with Skaven, inherently, because your armies are considered weak on an auto-resolve level, and I'm sure this benefits the AI as well, the AI thinks it can win, but it may not be able to win. Hell, it's kind of ridiculous when you think about what the AI thinks is a weak army that can defeat an auto-resolve and what the actual auto-resolve of the game is. Because, by the way, there is a very different perspective on those things as well. So you will have armies of opponents lining up to attack you, and they have no chance of winning. That gives you more money, that gives you more power. Or you have armies of opponents marching towards you, and you engage as opposed to cowering inside of a settlement. And because of that dynamic, you can ambush them with stock stance. It just comes together, like the combination of Skaven plus Skaven auto-resolve plus stock stance plus Tretch's ambush success chance is freaking ridiculous. He also has Devastating Flanker for all units in his army, melee attack during ambushes, melee attack after retreating one attack. So let's say, someone attacks you, right? And they've spent all their movement range to try and attack you. You can retreat and potentially get, plus 14 melee attack. The melee playstyle is very much there. Then you can get Tretch's Raider, charge bonus for Storm Vermin. I would not necessarily use Storm Vermin in that regards as anything other than a line holder, but you also get ambush success chance, ambush defense chance. This may be a lot. So you're looking at Tretch's army having a plus 45 ambush success chance. That is pretty damn powerful. Not gonna lie. Casualty replenishment, replenish 10% campaign movement range after winning a battle. So even if someone is, I know I haven't necessarily spent the points properly here. It's just like, I figured I would rather get, these kind of things over here and stand to die. And also unlock regeneration over here as opposed to, just getting that. But you do have regeneration for Tretch. He's not the best combat lord in the game. He won't win battles on his own, but having a lord that has regeneration and a good level of durability available to him, especially if you're giving him decent enough items, not the best items in the world to be sure, but when you consider the damage resist, and the ambush success chance, actually I was wrong, like plus 60% ambush success chance. Jeez, that's crazy. That is freaking crazy. So it means Tretch's army in a lot of cases can ambush an enemy using stock stance. That is just flat out absurd when you consider it. But he's decently durable. He won't do a lot of damage, but why do you think we have all of these babies available in a campaign? Like all that artillery, rattling gunners, Giselles, Poison Wind mortars or Death Globe mortars over there, Regiment Renown. Yeah, Death Globe mortars, Regiment Renown. Pretty damn scary shit, right? Or Poison Wind mortars. Pretty fun, not gonna lie, to use that. So while Tretch is kind of a worthless legendary lord, it is a combination of starting position, the race, the possibilities that exist because of that starting position, the other races that surround him, and the amount of money that they can give you that allows you to achieve an absurd level of power. Hell, I'll even give Skarsnik his money back, right? It's like, I don't care. I'll even throw in, an extra bit over here. I'm just looking to trade the settlement over here, so damn it, keyboard just being annoying. So we'll just throw in that as a little gift over there. because I certainly didn't need it. But it just creates these possibilities. And on top of that, because of all the constant rebellions Skaven are going to get, which you can easily defeat because they're Skaven rebellions of Skaven slaves. Yeah, the garrison here is not going to lose that in that situation. Even though Skaven are bad or all resolved, Skaven versus Skaven is a different discussion, right? So you end up with a lot of armies, powerful armies, and you don't have to... Like, you can abuse a bunch of things in every campaign, but you don't have to. Like, except like the distant declarations of war, which is like as minor of a cheese as you're talking about in Warhammer 3, you don't really have to abuse anything in a campaign. Hell, you don't have to region trade. It just makes you that extra better and makes Tretch a bit ridiculous. Now, you might ask, well, why can't Queek do this? Well, partly he can, to a degree, obviously, but also because his campaign dynamic is a bit more complicated because of Caracade Peaks, the dwarves, and also other factions that might pose a problem for him. But yes, he can do it. He's not as good at it as Tretch is. Though Queek is the kind of guy who can... well, let's just say Queek is the kind of guy who can eliminate many powerful factions in a campaign on his own. And there's a bloody good reason for that. I think he's been defeated over here by Emmerich. Like, I actually engineered the war over here between him and Emmerich. For my own personal gain, of course, right? Because like, I want to confederate him, and he's not going to be willing to confederate unless he loses quite a bit in this campaign. But yeah. That's all I had to say. Christine signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications. Stay tuned for more, boys and girls.